Hi, this is Allison with the Collective Experiences Fall 2017 Quarterly Update video. So I'll begin by talking a little bit of our problem motivation. Currently, social media and other platforms have become really powerful tools for people around the world to organize, coordinate, and execute group events and ultimately connect people with one another. And for events such as political marches or social events that mean a lot to people, people are willing to put in the time to attend and show up, even if it might mean traveling long distances. And there are also people who are willing to take the time to plan out the details, including who is coming and what tasks should people be doing, as well as alternative plans if something unexpected happens. However, these platforms still lack the ability to help people connect in meaningful ways on a regular basis, especially the interactions with friends and families who may be geographically distant is often overlooked. And a huge barrier is the high activation energy for people to participate in such events. On the coordinator side, there's a lot of time intensive planning that is involved, and on the participant side, they often have to seek out events themselves, and it's especially challenging for those who are not in the same place to engage with one another meaningfully in a way that's convenient for everyone. So, in our project, we introduced the idea of opportunistic collective experiences, which are simple, possibly goal driven activities that any number of people can participate in together. And because this type of experience is opportunistic, there's no longer a need for a coordinator to plan and manage experiences, and these experiences are automatically found for the participants. This also leads to our research question, which is how can we facilitate people opportunistically coming together to engage in shared experiences? In answering our research question, we also face a few challenges, including how to recognize when users are available to participate. Currently, we are approaching this by using situational awareness. So we are looking at a user's environment and seeing what abilities they have and what can they do in their environment. The second challenge is how to run collective experiences in an automated fashion such that the system can be smart about it and the experience can be completed effectively with little to no effort on the coordinator side. And our last challenge is how to facilitate participation in collective experiences.
Right, taking over for Allison for the rest of the video to talk about our system tech architecture. So one of the big changes that happened this quarter was we redesigned our entire architecture. We basically were running into a lot of bugs because the way our architecture worked before was there was a set interval loop that was like calling every 10 seconds to check if there were experiences that people could participate in. And then Capel pointed out to us the way we were stopping experiences and keeping track of these set interval loops was actually broken. We just hadn't realized it. So what we have now is we have database listeners, which is much better. So there's a database listener. I'm calling this location tracker that listens for the location to change. And then if the location changes, it says, hey, experience matcher, can you match any experiences? And if so, an experience then gets sent to the phone. Then, in addition, the location tracker kind of continues to work with the coordinator and the experiences to say, hey, if you move into a place where you can no longer participate, we need to go remove that from the user. Or if you're taking too long, there's someone else available, let's move that. And so the coordinator kind of works with a lot of these pieces to help the location tracker and the experiences and the experience manager matcher all make sure that things continue after that initial match. Location tracker obviously works closely with affordance aware to be pulling those affordances. And then our other handler is our submissions handler. So once the submission gets made to the database, it will see that and it will automatically update the experience. Sometimes it'll update the experience just to be like, oh, we're like even closer to being done than we were before. And sometimes it will like much more drastically update the experience. In the case of story time, when it has something significant that it needs to add. And then last but not least, we've got like a little front end block right here. Information from the experience tells it which front end to load. and then the phone sees that experience. So it's a lot simpler with these handlers and a lot easier to recognize where bugs might be. So we're pretty psyched about that. Okay, so study findings. So another big accomplishment of this quarter was we actually ran a study. And we had some bumps along the way in our study, but like overall it worked. People were able to successfully use our app. So some of the things we looked into were, A, do we have proof that things are working the way we expected? And so one thing we saw that we talked about that our system does is if someone gets a notification but takes too long to participate, we'll find someone else. So we found an exact example of this happening in the logs. So basically, Megan, who's this user ID, gets notified for an experience. It's the page 0 experience of Storytime. And so we can see here 2 users have gotten notifications, but if we're looking just at Megan's notification. So here we can then check out her affordances. So she got it right when she got nighttime on Saturday. And then she maintains nighttime. Yet, even while she's maintained nighttime, we can see that this mission also happened at night on the 25th. And so what happened was she took too long, and so they moved it over to Ryan. They said, Megan's taking too long. Ryan also has the nighttime affordance. Let's ask him to do it instead. So there's some log proof that actually happens and works in real life. Also here, just like some summary numbers on the number of notifications people got versus how many times they submitted the picture and actually participated. So as you can see, all of our users submitted at least once. We actually had 2 users who location tracking didn't work for, but for the purposes, we're like not including them in this analysis. Everyone submitted once, which was huge. And then here we have our power users who submitted more than once. And then 13, that was either me or 13, 8, that was me and Allison. And 3 and 4. When you're looking at these notification numbers, there was a couple bugs. So this 71, there was a bug, and Megan got a ton of notifications, had to turn off notifications for a bit, and that's why she only ended up participating once. And here it's broken down by some more stats. So overall, proof of concept on the tech worked. And then we went into kind of some more qualitative information. So 10 out of 12 users looked at the results page. There were 2 users who didn't realize it was there, which is this is something we want 100% of users to be seeing. It's also interesting, people would see the pictures in the results page and kind of guess who it was from, because there were no names. So, Lily said she saw one of the pictures at Tamate, and so she guessed it was Sasha, because Sasha always goes to Tamate. Turns out it was actually Youngsun. That's kind of a funny example of, she thought she knew who it was, she was actually wrong, and there was no way for her to know that, though. And then a couple people mentioned they saw a photo of Phil's, and so that's probably either Jenny or Allison in San Francisco. In that case, it was me, so they were right on that one. But it wasn't taken in San Francisco. This is kind of interesting how this guessing game, people are right and wrong. A lot of people said they were curious to see what was happening in the photo. They wish they could enlarge it. People also mentioned they wish they could have seen the names of who submitted these photos. So other than, beyond this interest in people's submissions, it was also clear that if there were no submissions, it wasn't as fun to participate. People said if there were only 1 or 2, it was disappointing, and people actually went back to try to see more submissions later, which really shows people were curious in seeing these submissions. Youngsun had his phone break, and so he had participated once, and then his phone broke, and so he never got to see all the submissions, and he said he felt like he missed out on the fun period. People also talked about other people's submissions being the highlight of the experience. It wasn't necessarily seeing your picture, but seeing what other people were up to. The other thing people commented a lot on was when they got a notification. So, Garrett was surprised by the airport notification. It felt personalized and knew exactly where he was. And so that was pretty cool for him. And he said he remembers being in the airport and getting that notification. He doesn't usually remember being in the airport. And then the other thing people said is, felt like you're in the right place at the right time. You're able to contribute. You're oh yeah, I was here and I can do this. Not everyone could help out. But because I'm here right now, I get to do this. And then people were also disappointed when they went cool places and they didn't get notifications. People were just cool places, they get notifications. Or a couple people mentioned like, oh, I went grocery shopping and I was really hoping to get a notification, but I didn't, et cetera, because they like knew those were places they should expect experiences. This was specifically like Meg and Eunice who were in sync with us. And people also were sometimes going off this, wishing they could share the things they were actually doing. Like, oh, I got pinged when I was doing something really boring. I wish I could get pinged when I was doing something fun. So that was pretty cool. So moving on, what to do next quarter. So we found this research paper that we're really excited about, and we want to hear what our mentors think about it. But it was a CHI late-breaking results paper, and it talks about awareness systems and computer-mediated communication systems, and it really talks about like how can you help other people be aware of one's friends and family. So here it talks about like you don't want to feel obligation. You don't want to feel expectations. You don't want to feel like communication to privacy invasion. So these were kind of like things they looked at that they wanted to decrease. But you wanted people to be thinking about you staying aware, feeling connected, sharing experiences, etc. And to me, a lot of these looks like things that we kind of measure. The whole idea of this app is it's kind of in the moment, and so it shouldn't create any sort of obligation. It should be easy to participate. And it should help other people be aware of what other people are kind of doing, and also you're sharing what your experience was. And some of the quotes in here, was saying, if you look at the related work here, there's even better quotes, but the spontaneous capture of experiences was important. Serendipitous communication is important. You don't want to disturb the receiver. So all of this, to me, was really exciting because it feels like a lot of motivation for our work that we've been talking about, but is kind of more said explicitly in this work and some of the other works that it cites or is cited by. And then I think that will really help us with writing more. We're working on getting our draft done, and I think going from the perspective of this paper will be a stronger introduction than going from the perspective of social media, because I think the systems that this paper and the related papers talk about are significantly more similar to our system. So definitely investigating that more. All right. Have a great break, Houchie.